Welcome to Chew the Fat. I am your host, Smooth, and today we're going to talk about our good friend, Derrick Jaxn. And I'm going to offer just a bit of context so people understand why I really don't rock with Derrick Jaxn. Well, we have his wife here today, Naia Jaxn, and she's letting loose. She's letting everybody know how horrible this guy actually was, even though he portrayed to be the perfect husband who really despised all of us who were imperfect men, which was everybody else in his mind. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this weirdo really quick, and I'll show you why you will too not like Derrick Jaxn after this.
All right, y'all, so real quick, I've been throwing around this phrase for a while now called pre-cheating, which is essentially any actions of your man that he has to defend with, you overreacting. What man doesn't do that? Stop being insecure. To be more specific, it's the stuff you let slide because it doesn't exactly cross the line, yet it didn't feel good whenever you peeped it either. Like the convos he had with the attractive girl that wasn't sexting, but it wasn't business related. Or when he hit the club every weekend with his boys, and while you trying to trust him to be on his best behavior, something nagging you wondering why he wants to be in an environment full of singles when his ass ain't single. Whatever the situation may be. Pre-cheating are those actions that don't cross the line, but they're more like a running start. So he can not only cross, but hop clean over the line whenever he's ready to. But why would he pre-cheat? If he gonna cheat, he might as well just cheat. Okay, you know how you let those dishes pre-soak before you wash them? Why do you do that? Because it makes it easier to do what? Wash them. Well, it's the same thing with cheating. It's a whole lot easier when you pre-cheat first. Being in a girl's face, being in a girl's inbox. Whatever you gotta do to warm the engine up before you pull off, most men have to do that. I mean, unless he a Morris Chestnut or Usher or some shit, most men ain't stepping out their front door.
So you guys get the idea as to what's happening with this particular fool, right? Yeah, we're going to shut him all the way down. So between him and this other idiot over here, oh, sorry, wrong picture. This other idiot over here, Steve Harvey, between those two fools, mind you, Steve Harvey's on his third marriage right about now. And between this guy and Derrick Jaxn, they're the two that women would take relationship advice from. So this Decepticon over here, who's just cheating like crazy, who's had nearly 100 women to his recollection, right? So who knows? The actual number could be exponential if he actually admitted to nearly 100. Who knows? But this is the guy. This is your guy. This is your dating coach who you listen to and follow and watch them give you a whole bunch of unrealistic expectations as to what a man is supposed to be like. This is absurd to me. Absurd to me that you would even listen to any one of these dudes, to be honest. But that's just my take on it. We're going to jump into a couple of videos over here, too.
Trauma that I had. I didn't have another trauma until I was 19 where I was raped. And so I still kind of include that in childhood trauma. So
it's been an interesting thing with this season of the podcast. It's like almost every woman that has sat down on this couch during this season have dealt with sexual trauma, sexual assault, rape.
yes.
Those of you who are familiar with my channel, I discuss that a lot. A lot of women who were SA'd, abused, violated in that manner that they're discussing right now, they have great difficulty adapting to relationships. It does something to you. It's unfortunate. And it's an uphill battle if you're in a relationship with a person who's a victim of that, unfortunately. So it's usually all bad, and it's tough to deal with for both parties because it can either just make a person shut down completely sexually, or it could make them into someone who's ultra promiscuous. And either way, it's not healthy for a monogamous long-term relationship. Usually there are some women who are able to heal, overcome the situation, but this is something that you want to find out. These are the tough conversations that you have to have during the vetting process before you decide to say I do. Carry on.
It was a statistic that I read that was 1 in 5 women have dealt with sexual assault. And then now they said there's probably 1 in 3 or something, like crazy.
Absolutely.
what happened in that? Was it a boyfriend, a date rape situation, a relative, or what happened, if you don't mind sharing?
So I was 19. I was on summer from college actually, and I was going out to a party that I didn't tell my mom about. I was, doing my own thing, and I went there, and I did have an ex-boyfriend there, and a couple other people, my family, my brothers were there, and their friends and things like that. And so we were all drinking, having a good time.
Be very careful when you are out, and you never know who you really can trust. Be very mindful of when you are drinking. Sometimes people put things in your drinks, and sometimes you may not know your level that you're comfortable with. If you are outside of the house, particularly if you are a female, you must understand you're going to be exponentially vulnerable after drinking. You cannot drink around people. You must be in a safe place. If you're with your significant other who you wouldn't mind taking advantage of you when you drink, that's fine. But if you are around people who you don't want to be taken advantage of by, then be very careful when you're drinking.
I was downstairs, and one of the people there decided that they, seen me, and they wanted what they wanted. And so I was grabbed from behind. I was pushed down, and then, there's that story of being raped. But everybody was upstairs, so they couldn't hear me downstairs, in the basement screaming with over the music and all of that. So
How'd you process that? Did you tell anybody?
I did not process it. And so here, I did not process it at all. I didn't tell anybody. In fact, then I didn't go home that night. I actually stayed.
So that's another disgusting situation. Just be very mindful of who you're around when you're drinking. And no matter what, we understand that it's certainly not her fault. We would never blame her. But what you want to do is understand that people's intentions are not always well, and you can be harmed if you're not careful with the people you surround yourself with.
You met your husband at what age, and how'd y'all meet?
At 19, we met in business calc class at Tuskegee University.
Hold on. So you met him shortly after
I did.
your rape experience?
I did 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks after I met him in class. Yes. Right. And so then we add on another layer, right? I went straight into a relationship. Even though it wasn't like immediately we started dating, but I met him and there was interest there. I went straight into that without even acknowledging dealing with the rape. I pretended like it never even happened, and got myself into a relationship unhealed. So
Now that's a very, very nasty situation. It's horrible. She's going right from a traumatic situation and then going into another one, which she's unclear about yet. But, after meeting Derrick Jaxn, I'm sure she found out pretty soon. We're going to carry on.
What attracted you to Derrick?
he's very charming. He's very charming. When you see him, he has a charisma and a presence about him that is just like, it sucks you in automatically. And then he's very funny. And so that humor drew me in as well. Of course, he has the looks to go with it. So there's that.
So it was a perfect little balance.
Right? Yeah. So this is what I'll say. People who aim to be very charismatic, you can't really trust them. I know very few people who are charismatic who don't use it for the right things. Like it's bad. Like most charismatic people that I know, they are definitely using it for evil, right? It's a form of manipulation if you don't understand that. Be very wary of people who appear to be very charismatic, right? Because, and especially if you have a look to you, you have a smile that people like, or you have a body that people like, what happens is that person realizes the effect that it has on people very soon, very early in their life. And it doesn't take them long to realize that they can use it to manipulate people, and they will. We begin our manipulation as humans from babies. Babies start manipulating you when they cry. They cry for no reasons. They cry for attention. They see how you react. Immediately, we are manipulating people right away from birth. So now, a grown man like Derrick Jaxn certainly has polished his manipulation skills. He's mastered his manipulation skills. As you can see, stone cold liar caught cheating with nearly 100 women after bashing men for cheating and saying this is how you're supposed to treat a woman, and then doesn't treat a woman like that. How about that, my friend?
Yeah, it's a perfect balance of it all.
And so when you first saw him, did you just see him as somebody that, oh, I'm interested in him? Where is he pursuing you, or y'all start off as friends and it evolved to something greater? Or
Yeah,
what?
so I actually was very quiet. Again, I'm pretty quiet overall and to myself, but he see me in class. I was the quiet girl in class, and he was like, "Hey, are you a model?" I was like, I used to do some modeling, right? Because I had all these pictures of me doing.
You see this dude right here, man? You see this dude right here? Him with the game he was putting on her, man. He already had his teeth ready to be sank in. Like he was ready to rock and roll. Off rip. He was already ready to manipulate her. He saw his prey and he realized, hey, you know what? This is a perfect candidate to fall for the game. This is somebody I could keep in a tuck, manipulate, have her do whatever it is that I want her to do while I'm still out here doing me. That's how the homeboy rock.
Overall,
Yeah.
you know, most people didn't say a whole lot, but I think there's a lot of hatred about it. And then it's like it doesn't match because he is more outgoing
Yeah.
and personable, and I'm just like, you know, literally awkward black girl that went to an all white high
He knew
school.
exactly what he was doing, bro.
There's a
He knew
balance
exactly what he was doing.
there.
What did he see in you? Because
Um,
he had to have said that to you before. What did he see in you?
well, okay. So he said that he liked that I was like smart, and of course he loved my eyes. And I feel like now, like looking back on it, I feel like there was a lot of compliments on like the physical attributes as opposed.
We know exactly what the homeboy saw in you. He saw a woman who had been through trauma. Because he's a manipulator, he can recognize these things. He saw a woman who was naive, that he could control, that he could manipulate, and that's what he wanted to do. This homeboy wasn't thinking about doing anything else, but taking advantage. That's what he saw. He saw prey. Here we go.
It's a big
Well, we
word.
got to tone the word commitment there.
We do.
Y'all was in a relationship.
We got to tone it all the way down.
Okay, we're going to
Bring
tone
it
it down to
down.
the nail. What we going to
So
call it?
we're gonna call it a situationship.
Y'all was in a
We
situation.
was in a situationship for a long time.
So y'all never, so when y'all,
So when-
after 3 days in love, y'all didn't say, let's make it official?
We were technically official, but there was a lot of on and offs agains, right? In that. So that's why I say when we talk about commitment, we got to tone it all the way down. We got to go back to the elementary level of the word and start at the
Yeah,
beginning.
start at the beginning.
And,
Okay.
And yes, there was commitment at times.
At times.
But there was a lot of on and off again. Okay, and through college and even after college, lots of on and off again. And so leading up to our marriage, we were actually off. Right, we were actually off. We were living in North Carolina at the time.
Trouble in paradise. You would have legitimately thought that these people had a perfect relationship. The way that Derrick Jaxn was giving out advice, man. Getting paid for tours. Getting all types of donations. Swindler. The grifter. taking your money, selling you books that were nonsense, that were all lies, that were unrealistic. And then you just sucked it all up, didn't you? Didn't you?
Stupid.
Pause. You thought he was kicking game, didn't you?
Stupid.
But guess what? The homeboy got aired out, man.
Today I got
The homeboy got aired out. Yeah, I'm not feeling this cat, bro. I'm really not.
His phone.
I would always get like a feeling, or he would touch me different, right? So after most rape victims are very sensitive to touch. And so any sign of him touching me, any type of, any different, I'm like, there has to be somebody else. There has to be,
You're
right?
talking about with a change of a touch.
With a change of a touch. There has to be, right? And so I would go snooping around because I'm a snooper. And when you seek, you shall find. That is a true biblical verse. So if you don't believe in the word of God, listen, let me tell you, when you seek, you will find. And when you find, you have to know what to do.
And what's so bad about it? People will find something, but then they won't do nothing about it.
Exactly.
Because they weren't prepared to leave.
And that was me.
You was like, I'm gonna find it, I'm gonna bust them, and then like, what you gonna do? Because you're not gonna even tell them that you busted
I
them.
did absolutely nothing. Sit there, cry, and okay, this is how I'm gonna get a little bit serious, right? Okay. I would seek and I would find, I would sit in closets and cry, and I would be in there wanting him to find me in the closet crying. And when he would come and find me in the closet crying, then
Wow, bro. This is what you got going on in your crib. And then you over here giving out advice, man. And like I said, we all fall short. Nobody's perfect. I understand men do things sometimes, women do things sometimes. But when you start to condemn other men and act like you are holier than thou, that's where the problem comes in. And when you start lying to women while monetizing it, telling these women things that are horrible, unrealistic things, and telling what they should expect from men, these unrealistic expectations, you're actually destroying relationships while monetizing it and being a hypocrite at the same time. Are you wild? You can't believe nothing Derrick Jaxn says.
That was a lie.
Nothing. Yeah, man. Forget this cat, dude.
I became a shell of myself. I didn't know who I was. I actually have a couple posts on my page where I have a post that says, I knew her body better than I knew my own.
Stop. Let that sit there. You said you knew another woman's body better than you knew your own.
Yes, several women. I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. And I spent a lot of time, like I went in such a deep hole where I was like studying these women. I would go to their profiles and I would study their pages and like what they wear. I knew when they were when they had met up. So I watched their videos of them having sex. So I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me. And
Hold on a second, dude. What are we doing over here? What are we doing over here? She's watching film of these other women. And there's actually something to that. Keep it G with y'all. Something happened, and we know she's dealt with a lot of trauma that would lead her to this type of behavior. That's pretty wild. But listen, I can tell you I've had more than one experience where females will actually want you to tell them about your escapades that you've had with other women, like during sex. Like people are like, well, who did you smash today? Or, stuff like that. Was she any good? Did she do this? And I'm like, it's cringe, man, because I'm like, what's going on here? For real. Like, but yeah, there are some women who are really into that. Not my thing, never been. But yeah, that's a thing. That is a real thing. And, you know, like I said, she's dealt with a lot of trauma. That's crazy. I must commend Naia Jaxn because this dude was doing all of this, man. And she held it down. She ain't snitched never until it was like he already got caught. She never snitched on homeboy. She knew he was doing all of this nonsense, could have blew up the homeboy's career and everything. Or just out of anger, out of frustration, and all of the trauma she was dealing with. She never blew the lid off of this thing. Never. For real. She must be commended for that because that's perfect. Commendable. She tried to hold it down. She tried to make it work. She did a lot of different things. And this dude was doing her dirty. Not to say he deserved that type of treatment, but she really went the extra mile to try to hold this man down, knowing that he's like this. Could you imagine just being at home watching these videos and watching these women react to this guy, knowing it's all a lie and knowing he's cheating on you? You know how strong she had to be to hold that in as a woman. You know how unrealistic that is to ask of a woman. But Derrick Jaxn stalked his prey carefully, and he knew she was dealing with a lot of things, and he took advantage of that. That was the thing that he appreciated about her the most, I promise. Yeah, man, I don't know what to say about this dude.
Two different things that we were feeling at that particular time.
Did you ever find out how many women he actually cheated on you with? Was
As
there
a
ever
whole
time
in marriage,
in, out, or whatever? Was there ever a moment that y'all had a come to Jesus moment where he sat down and said, listen, to my knowledge, this is how many women I've slept with?
okay, so part of the recovery process where we were in the program for infidelity and all that is discovery. And in discovery, it's like we've trickled out a lot of information. Now it's time to go to level 0, ground zero, they call it. And so he had to make a list. And so he made a list of women, so everything that he could recollect. And there was nearly 100 women on there. And so
You talking about 100? Where you going back
that he
to?
wrote on the list. Now,
You talking about you talking about in his lifetime?
Yeah, brody. Check him out. Nearly 100. Yeah, she said it right there. Nearly 100. What we doing out here, Derrick Jaxn? What are we doing out here, Derrick Jaxn? Huh? What are we doing out here, Derrick Jaxn? Straight up lying dude, bro. Straight up liar. Liar. She over here at home with the kids and all that. And here you go. That's all you worried about, bro. That's all you worried about. Them little young things, all them little chicks, all you worried about, bro. That's all you want. Right? And that ain't gonna knock your hustle. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But what you're not gonna do is sit out here and bash the rest of us when you are here smoking it up more than anybody else. The biggest hypocrite ever. And that's what we don't appreciate. You don't sit here and bash men and act like you're holier than thou. And you are here stinking it up, bro. Get out my face with that nonsense, bro. Now, the video which I exercised fair use on is called Dear Future Wifey. I would urge you to go ahead and check that out. But while you're still here, please do drop a like. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell and share this to as many people as you would. That is all appreciated. What I will say in closing about Derrick Jaxn is just stop being phonies out here. And we understand that YouTube world is full of grifters and social media on a whole, a bunch of grifters. We understand that. Everybody wants to be a grifter. You can certainly monetize on it. I don't appreciate those practices. I speak from the heart. And I don't believe in being hypocritical. And I don't believe in behaving like I am holier than thou. We all fall short by word, thought, and deed on a regular basis. So none of us can act like we are that dude and we don't engage in this and we don't do that and we can't behave like that because guess what? One day you might get caught slipping out here and they're going to catch you and them photos and they're going to catch you in that bedroom, like Derrick Jaxn, who was smashing another chick in the same bed that he lays with his wife. That man is a disaster. He's disgusting. And I don't think anyone should ever take relationship advice from that fool. But that's going to do it for today. We appreciate you for stopping by. And until next time, stay hungry, my friends. Never thirsty.
You know that ain't my style. You know that ain't my style.